Hey Valley Middle, welcome back to another math lesson. Tonight we're going to compare and order rational numbers. Before we do that, let's start with our just for fun question. Who is this celebrity and what is her real name? Tonight, our target officially is 2.1a, I can compare rational numbers, and 2.2b, I can order positive rational numbers. All right, let's jump right into the vocabulary. You need to know these symbols. This is an equal sign. This is a greater than sign, and this is a less than sign. I remember it by the greater side is by the greater number. Large side, large number. 98 is greater than or bigger than 45. 45 is less than, you can kind of read them backwards, 98. All right, take a look at this one down here. Test makers like to confuse kids with large numbers. 989,789 versus 989,879. Focus in on those key digits. Everything is the same until right up here. Now we have 78, we have 87. So this number is larger, this is smaller. Less than. Big number, big side. All right, I'm sure you've got a trick to help you remember too, but that's what I used. We also need to know rational numbers. These are integers or fractions that can be written as a over b, so that you get a ratio. All right, let's do this thing. First, we'll compare some positive rational numbers. Go ahead, try comparing these, pause the video, and I'll be back in a second. All right, let's see how you did. Check it out, see if your answers match mine. Make sure you know what to call these symbols. Greater than, less than, equals, and greater than. All right, let's move on and let's order some rational numbers. There's lots of different ways to do this. I'm just going to give you a few of the tips that I use. Can you put these numbers in order from least to greatest? Tip 1, underline what you're doing or box it off. We're going from smallest to greatest. All right, I like to focus in and look at the first digits first. Here we've got 119, 181, and 911. 119 is smaller than 181, which is smaller than 911. We've already got them in order from least to greatest. I didn't need to look at the whole number. I can, using place value, I can focus in on the first part of the number. Okay? I think this is especially useful when you're looking at a set of numbers and you have to choose which one is from greatest to least, focusing in on that first part of the number. Here we have 55, 54, and 56. This goes 55, 54. We're going down, but we go back up. Can't be that one. How about 45, 56? Going the wrong direction. We're going from least to greatest. Can't be that one. 56, 55, and 54. Now this doesn't always work, but it oftentimes is helpful in at least eliminating some of the possibilities, and then you can look at the other digits to determine the order. All right, let's move on. Take a look at another tip. Putting these numbers in order from least to greatest. All right, oftentimes I just put down some lines underneath, so I have a place to write my numbers as I look at them. We're going from least to greatest, so I want the greatest down on this end. This one is obviously the greatest number, 545,000. Let's see, 231,000 obviously is going to go here because it's bigger than 123,000. Putting those lines down helps you just kind of work through things, and then again, you can always visually double check, 123, 231, and 545. We're getting larger. Least to greatest. I'm constantly going back and double checking it. I would say 50 to 60% of the mistakes kids make on these problems are because they don't continually check least to greatest. So you're going to see me doing that tonight, and I'm doing it to remind you, but I'm also doing it to check my own work. All right, another tip, using a bar like this to line up your decimals. Here I got some numbers with decimals, so at this point, just take and throw them on there and line them up by the decimal. Okay, when you do this, it's pretty easy to see where the big numbers are and where the small numbers are. So we're going from greatest to least. So this one is obviously bigger. This one is the next biggest. And this is the smallest. Now I get my line out of there. I've got my numbers all lined up. Greatest to least. Just pop them in. And there you go, just like that. So lining them up by the decimal is helpful. I think that's especially helpful when you have to take and work with numbers that are fractions and decimals. So 5/8 here, my next tip is to go ahead and convert those into fractions into decimals. Or if they're a percentage, go ahead and convert them. So I'm going to convert these. And I can use a line if I want. Or we can use another one of my tips, thinking about money. You're all pretty good at thinking about that. So now I'm going to look at the first two digits as I think about money. I got 62 cents, 70 cents, and 87 cents. I want to go from greatest to least. Well, 87 cents is bigger. 62 cents is the next biggest. And, oops, 70 cents is the next biggest. And then 62 cents. Oftentimes you're going to need to put it back in your original form too, so you have to put the fractions back and maybe replace them. I'll just set them on top for now. Double check, greatest to least. Thinking about money, 87 cents is larger than 70 cents, which is larger than 62 cents. Okay? Always think about that. I just kind of ignored this last digit and thought about the money on those decimals. Okay, great. One last tip. A couple of tips, actually. Sometimes you're going to end up working with negative numbers. It's not really a target in 6th grade, but we like to expose you to them. So you can think about putting your number line going up and down, and this sometimes helps. It's kind of like a thermometer. So here's a number line, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3. Obviously, the lower we get, the smaller the number. The higher we get, the higher the number. Using that, we can very quickly see that -2 is bigger than -3, because the farther you go, the smaller the number it gets. So I like that idea of turning the number line on the side. It reminds me of a thermometer. In Minnesota, we're all pretty good with that. You know, if this is 0, this is going to be 1 degree here. -2 is going to be down below. And -3. We know this stuff. We're Minnesotans. We're hardy. We sell Girl Scout cookies in -200 degrees. Last tip is if you've got 4 numbers and you've got some positives and some negatives, just double check. You're going from greatest to least. Well, the positives are going to be over on the left-hand side then, because they're greater. And you got 2 negatives. That kind of helps you. You know, the 0 can go here because that's going to be neither positive nor negative. The 1 obviously is going to be the positive number. Now you've got the 2 negatives. If you think about your number line, -2 is going to be bigger than -3. All right? So those are 4 or 5 tips. Depending upon the situation, you'll choose which is best to use for yourself and what your comfort level is. Be careful, continually double check. Greatest to least. What order are you putting them in? Greatest to least. All right. Thanks. Here's your ticket to the show. I'll give you a couple minutes to copy that down. All right. Trivia question today. Who is this? What's her real name? This is Lady Gaga. Real name is Stefani Joanne Angelina Germanata. Look at, I can give her a nose tattoo. Just kidding. All right. Thanks. Have a good evening. Bye.